Okay, so here it all is. There's our built-up eave. The only thing missing is soffit. The soffit obviously is going to hit flush with the bottom of the fascia right here, extend into the house, and we'll attach it to this cleat that we put here. It's just basically 1.5 by 1.5. We've just ripped it through a table saw. That holds aluminum soffit really well. If we're using any kind of wood exposed soffit, nice tongue and groove cedar or something like that, we would have to install backing across here probably about every 2 feet. Basically, you could just put them where every truss is, because that's every 2 feet across here. That way we'd have something to nail to. So we don't need that in this case, so that's what we'd have to do. So this is our tail, our truss tail here. We can see it heads right on up there. It's the top cord of the truss. The sheathing is attached to it. Off it goes way up inside the house all the way to the peak, okay? This is just blocking we've put in just to sort of control the tails to make sure that they don't warp and twist too much. And then here's our rough fascia, okay, attached to the outside of the tail. You can see that little beginning of a triangle there, because when we get to the outside, our sheathing, which is covered up by this drip edge right now, it sits flush, so it doesn't flare up there. And this is just a piece of 2x6, okay, so 5.5 inches by 1.5 inches. So what we should have is 24 inches for this particular plan to the outside of the rough fascia to the outside of sheathing, just behind this building paper, okay? So the tail length has been calculated to make that happen in accordance with the pitch, which is just under 412. So here's the famous heel. It's hidden a fair bit by this insulation stop, this piece of cardboard here. That stops our insulation from falling out of the house and allows for airflow up above, okay, underneath the sheathing to ventilate our attic space, keep things moving. Here's the famous heel face, okay? So this heel face is even with, sorry about that, the outside of sheathing. So I'm just going to use this pencil as a straight edge, and we can see how nicely that lines up. Okay, so it's flush on here. Perfect. You can see there's a significant difference here where my finger is. So if you were to describe your heel height at the top of this wall on up to the top of the truss at the studs or the top of the cap plate, that's incorrect. It's at the sheathing. That's the outside of our house. Unless your house doesn't have sheathing, and that's possible. Some exterior insulation systems work that way. Okay, so in any case, so from here to the heel on the other side of this truss, on the other side of the house, is quite precise, okay? So our heel height, again, is measured from here. So at the top of our wall, at the heel face, which is flush with the sheathing, vertically straight up to this point right up here. Okay, so underside of sheathing or top of the top cord. But the important thing to remember is at this plane, the heel face, which is even with the outside of the sheathing. And then in theory, the outside of the sheathing, if everything is regular and normal, should be on the outside of the foundation wall again. There's exceptions to everything. The foundation wall could be built slightly differently, but that's how we do it. Okay, alrighty, so there we go. This place is just about ready for the finished fascia and the finished soffit, and then our siding and batten details around the windows. We've already talked about windows and doors, so we've just need to do the flashing and the batten treatment. Hope that clears up a few things.